evidence as to why you're exempt from the COVID vaccine. Also, if you feel like you have any symptoms, I think the CDC guidelines have changed. If you feel sick, obviously get tested. But like, I think they've changed with regards to if you think you've been exposed to somebody. Ahora, if the quarantine for that es menos. And I'm actually waiting on some PCR results that are supposed to be by today. So I'll be good to go, hopefully, con el favor de Dios, to see you guys on Monday. Okay? Because the reason why last class I wasn't, if they're recording, but whatever, I wasn't able to meet you guys was because I was thinking about canceling the class because I wasn't feeling well the day before. I had symptoms that I thought could, be COVID. And I got the antigen test, and the antigen test came back negative. But because I have family que inmunocomprometida, I don't trust the antigen test. So I went and did the PCR. And that's the reason why we didn't meet on Wednesday. My apologies. But I was trying to be, careful, and also in these uncertain times, you have to take care of yourself. And I suppose I should have just like emailed you the night before and been like, we're not meeting, but I was hoping I'd feel better in that morning. Does that make sense? See?
Yeah, yes, it does.
Yes.
I mean, have any of you, bueno, eso no, estamos recording, so no le voy a preguntar if you got in cool. O sea, we could talk about that cuando estemos presencial. All right. Although, as you can see, los síntomas me duraron como 3 días o 2 días, and now I'm feeling way better. So either I have something or had something else. And if I had something, maybe it was Omicron. Okay, this is our page. So here we are right now. What does it mean to know a language? These are all the class recordings, including the one for when we didn't meet. I added that one yesterday, so you can have a look. But essentially, in this last recording, I am wrapping up chapter 1. Goodbye, chapter 1. Goodbye, key concepts in sociolinguistics. Goodbye, competence versus performance, diversity versus universals. So now that we're done with our first module, you have a reflection due on Saturday at 11:59 p.m. So it counts as your participation. So in this reflection, I expect you guys to consider the concepts and theories that we discussed of chapter 1. Specifically, what does it mean to know a language according to sociolinguists, and reflect on your personal opinion on the nature of what it means to know a language after discussing it from different perspectives. No, so you leave a reflection of 300 to 500 words long, right? And I'm gonna add another requisite right now. And not only do you leave a reflection, but by next time we meet, which is Monday, you also respond to 2 other people's reflections. So this counts for the participation grade of our class. It's meant to be dynamic. So you can say stuff like, what would a response to somebody else's reflection look like? It would look like, I think this is a fascinating point, but I would have to disagree, that reasons. Or I think you bring about some interesting arguments, I would like to add examples, anecdote about why you believe or whatever. So in other words, when you respond to somebody else's reflection, response, and I'm writing this down, is not, I agree. That's interesting. Or yeah, anyone can do that, but I want you to engage and actually read what your peer said, and then maybe like contribute in some way or form, or provide a further example or a counter example to what they're saying, or an anecdote. So firstly, you leave the reflection, and this is by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Secondly, you respond to people's reflections. Okay? And this is not what I'm looking for, but this is what I'm looking for. So this is your work for Saturday, and the response is by Monday. Time of class. So that means that you have Sunday to look at your peers' stuff. Is that clear?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. I wanted to ask. I'm currently in the site itself, and it says that you're not able to create a discussion because you're not a member of any group.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna face that today because
Okay.
that happens all the time. Remember last time, Daphne?
Yeah.
But I learned how to fix that. So y'all are gonna be members of the group. Trust. Okay. There's our own joke between Daphne and yo, I think. All right. So this is the first module. We finished on my last recording. So now we're gonna do the next module, which is on dialects. So I'm gonna pull out that presentation. Oh, actually, I did have some exercises for you. So I'm gonna go to those first. And they may take us a while, depending if they're. All right, okay. Can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Different parent slide. So the first exercise is, here are a number of statements that can be tagged to make them into questions. So a tag is usually like a question that you say after a declarative statement. So after you've said your opinion or a statement about something, maybe to kind of either A, verify what you've said, or B, invite your audience to participate, you end that sentence with right, or isn't it? Isn't he? So that sort of feature of a discourse, tagged or making tagged questions or tagged sentences, has been found historically to be linked a lot, especially to the language of women. And it all ties down to a patriarchal society, when women are taught that their opinions are not good enough, blah, blah, blah. So they have to ask someone else instead of saying straight up their opinion without the right, isn't it, right? So that's kind of traditional linguistics and what traditional linguistics has found of gendered language. But anyway, that is what a tag question is. in this course. So we're gonna do an exercise on tagged questions. Okay, beginning again. Here are a number of statements that can be tagged to make them into questions. Add a tag question to each with the tag you would be most likely to use, and also add any other tags you might also use or think others might use. See number 1 for an example of a potential answer. Indicate for each example which tag you believe to be the prescriptively correct tag. So which one sounds best to you, just based off your opinion as a learner of English? Or if you might associate certain tags with only certain groups of speakers. Ya yo ahí te di como que un little hint de eso. Compare your results with those of others who do this task. If there are differences in your answers, how can you explain them? So eso de compare your results with others, we're going to do together. So firstly, I just want you to look at 2 to 10, and then provide your own response to it. And then maybe also talk about, oh, I would expect this tag to be used by a little kid or an adult or this person in a certain context, right? So then we're going to talk about the differences together. But firstly, just do the first 2. Answer for a potential question and then indicate which one you would see as correct and that you might associate with certain people. So esas son the 3 prompts. Focus on that. Y eso de compare, we do together. So you have a couple of minutes, maybe 10 minutes, okay? Okay, so go. And when you're done, write in the chat that you are done. So write in the chat once you're done. Okay, so we can just discuss as a group now. So the book gives you some examples of what tag questions could be like. Isn't he? Isn't she? Isn't it? In it? In it? At the from the UK. Ain't he? Yeah. But then we tend to have a more different approach to which one would be perhaps more correct according to what we've learned. No, in this case, isn't he and not in it, right? There are other examples I have up. Well, I have right in my hand. Other examples of tag questions. Wasn't it? Are they? Have they? Right? Do I? Did it? Were they? Etc. There's a bunch of examples of tag questions, more than that. But the idea is that you sort of end your question, your declarative statement with an unnecessary question idiom or like a question formula. And it's unnecessary because a lot of the times it's not really a question. It's just you looking for affirmation. And sometimes it could even be a rhetorical question. So yeah. All right, so let's do number 2. I may see you next week. So what do you guys write?
I have, shouldn't I?
Should I? That's really nice. That's like, that sounds like you're like dating someone in the first date. Can I see you next week? And like, should I?
Yeah, like nervous.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the meaning I attach to it. So who do you think, what kind of person would put the should I? What kind of person are we talking about? What attributes would you put to that person?
A young adult.
That's nice. Yeah. Young adult, because they're not so sure of themselves, right?
Exactly.
They're anxious. Okay. All right. Number 3. No one goes there anymore.
I put do they?
Do they? Yeah, that's
Do
good.
they? Yes.
So you're like collectively, do they? So it's like you're referring to the people that once went there. And that's definitely something that would be prescriptively more correct, in my opinion, than no one goes there anymore, right? Because right sounds very colloquial, bien slang, like, right? Daphne.
Sorry, my meeting is going haywire right now.
It's
So I kind of had a picture in my head, like 2 kids walking down the hall and they see that nobody's at the library. And then one of them's like, oh, no one goes there anymore, huh? That's just,
so sad.
yeah.
And then I can imagine the UPRM library, because it's been closed the entire semester last year. So no one goes there anymore. So sad. But yeah, that's a really nice example. So, as a tag question is a lot like little kids' version of their tag question, because they certainly do need affirmation, especially in such an insecure etapa or stage of someone's life when you're a kid and you're very much dependent on your adult. So yeah, would sounds a little bit more juvenile. Okay, but in kids, right? Okay, those are really nice examples. Do they is certainly on the upper side of the age scale, more for adults, more formal, because it's referring back to the people suggested in that sentence that went there. Okay, so number 4, either John or Mary did it.
I wrote right. So like either John or Mary did it, right?
Yeah, I think that's okay. Like, would you say that that's prescriptively correct, or would you say it's formal, informal? How would you consider it in that context?
I think it's rather informal.
Yeah, definitely. So it's like it's either this or this, right? What would be a more formal way of saying that? I would probably go for a long construction, like either John or Mary did it, don't you think? I'm gonna see.
Oh, a good one.
Yeah. All
Or
right.
didn't they?
Oh, didn't they as well? All right. So few people know that. Cinco. Few people know that. Anyone want to share? Or like give it a go? Don't they?
Uh, the
I
picture that went through my head was like person 1 told person 2 something really personal, and then the first one said, "Few people know that," like it's more like a bashful thing to say, I think.
yeah, oh my God. So it's certainly on the like informal side of the scale when it comes to tag questions. It's used a lot in American English, and it's also used a lot in Irish English, annoyingly a lot in Irish English. So in Irish English, they use it like a tag question. Most people would say, as a tag question, right? But in Irish English, it almost seems like every single question is a tag, like every single statement informally is a tag statement that ends with, or what I mean. And they don't say, like, they say, like that. Or, what I mean? Like, honestly, todo el tiempo. But definitely, would be a tag question. Like few people know that, but certainly on the informal side of the scale. And then I would just put the same one as I did before, don't you think? For a more formal one. But yeah, really good. Or, Okay. Number 6, you don't want to come with us.
I have don't you?
Don't you? That's nice. That's polite. Yeah. Don't you? Good. I would just put based on my own idiolect that, we have a dialect When we talk about dialects, we talk about regional dialects, or we talk about people from ethnic groups having certain dialects, or people from certain class groups having dialects. But idiolect as a term that we're gonna learn, actually, I think maybe in the next class, idiolect refers to your own dialect. So what it means is that we all, throughout our lives and throughout our several experiences, we all acquire different ways of saying things. Throughout experiences in school, with friends, where we were born, with our family, so that when we talk, nobody quite sounds just like us. We have our own idiolect, right? So what I was gonna say about me, okay, my idiolect, I suppose, a lot of the times, I have like a weird idiolect personally, because it's mixed with formal constructions, but then I also switch to informal really fast, and I do it on purpose. So I use tag questions all the time, especially the one that I always use is right. Okay, I always put, está mi perrito. I would just put right para todo eso, right? Right? And that's me trying to be informal and trying to invite somebody else to engage and maybe feel less threatened by what I'm saying. So that's my strategy, my communicative strategy. All right. Viste, ahora mismo, all right. So I'm full of tag questions. So Coco has something to say. Let me put him away. He won't let himself be put away. All right, so I have a penny in my purse. Anyone?
I use right.
I have
Like
a penny.
right.
In my purse. Yeah, it sounds like I suppose it already sounds like an informal statement. Usando, I don't know why. I think penny, and I think I'd go cutesy. I think informal. Yeah, right. Instead of saying a coin or money, right? You say a penny. Yeah, right, Gabriela, sounds good.
Because it feels like sort of like confirmation, like I have a penny in my purse, right?
También, that's good. What
Like
else?
yeah.
That's a good one, Gabriela. I have a penny in my purse, right? Did anyone put something different? No. And the thing is, who holds a purse? Traditionally, women, right? So, viste, ahí my discourse marker. I mean, my tag, yeah. So I have a penny in my purse. We're thinking about a woman, maybe, right? And she's using a tag question to confirm that she has money. All right, so why is it moving? Esto has a lot. So number 8. He's been put away. He has a lot to say as a puppy. And he particularly likes sociolinguistics. Actually, he's just barking at the people in front of my apartment, which he does a lot. because I live near a public beach. Okay, so I'm going to cry right now. So I'm going to cry right now. Why would you need permission for that? But okay. So I'm going to cry right now. What would be a potential tag question for you crying? Oh, sorry, I'm going right now. But still, why would you need permission for you to leave? Again, come on, okay. I guess I was reading the second one, but I'm going right now.
I wrote okay, like at the very end, like a teenager trying to get out of the house, technically asking their parents for permission.
I'm going right now, okay? Yeah. That's a nice teenager. Most people would just go. Or it could be like a baby, not a babysitter, but like someone who's just cautious about somebody else and you're taking care of that person like a grandma or something. I'm going right now, okay, grandma, I'm going. You know, kind of like taking care at the same time. Are you fine with me leaving? But yeah, it's quite polite, especially because of the action that's being described. Like, why would you have to ask permission to leave? No, unless that you're respecting somebody, an elder, Daphne. That's good. That's a good one. What else do we got? I'm going right now.
I used will I, but it sort of sounds weird now. Like I'm going right now. Will I go right now?
Sí, eso no es un tag question. Eso suena más like somebody trying to make up their mind.
Probably me.
Okay, I'm going right now. Is that okay? Or okay? Like Daphne said, I'm going right now. I can't think about anything else because Daphne primed me. This is what happens sometimes. People give you the response and then your own response goes away. Okay, so the baby cried. Didn't he? Didn't she? Yeah, the baby cried. The girl saw no one.
Didn't she?
Muy bien, didn't she? Okay, so it's not that complicated. It's just literally putting these variants. So honestly, these are just different ways of saying the same thing. So different ways of saying a phrase attached to a declarative statement. And this phrase serves the same function of verifying, okay, or of engaging your audience, having them jump into what you said. Daphne.
I feel that perhaps a very specific version of the tag questions in Puerto Rico would be like code switching in between. Like, at least that's what I've sort of noticed in my conversations with friends. Like, I'd be like, oh, he's ready, ¿verdad? Like, it's like that point where I start code switching.
Yeah, I always use verdad all the time. That's a good example. Yeah, definitely. Verdad is very much common in our specific context. That's great. So honestly, within our context and English, there's many ways of saying this or communicating this tag. So this example is an example of variation in language. All right, there's variation in tags, and every single variant or every single form that we discussed has meaning attached to it, so that we see more of a woman or more of a young person or somebody using a specific tag. So for ain't, maybe we see it more attached to the ethnic group African Americans, right? Or maybe an image of a caricatured image of a woman like a Black woman comes up because of entertainment media making fun of African American English, or maybe for in it, we think about a working class British person because that's how the media portrays users of in it, no? So images come up, or meaning comes up whenever we hear variables or different ways of saying something. So then if we have access to these meanings, then we choose the one that we want to say in interaction. So that's an example for you of variation and meaning in variation. So number 2, variation in greeting. So we're going to do this in the last 3 minutes. How do you greet? And then actually we'll do this really fast. And then we're going to go to e-courses that get, well, we don't need to because I've already shown you the form. Okay, we're going to do this last. Okay, doing this last, and then we're meeting on Monday, and I'll send you details of the room and the time. Okay, so that means that probably you're going to have to wake up at 6 or 6:30 to come to my class. 6:45. All right, so variations in greetings. How do you greet your friends, your family, your colleagues, your professors, and your acquaintances? Are there different verbal exchanges as well as different embodied practices? Air kisses, shaking hands, fist bump. Does the situation matter? That is, do you greet your family different if you have not seen them for a long time, or friends in different ways, depending on whether you run into each other by accident on campus or if you're meeting for a dinner? Ahí lo voy a dejar because that's a very long question. So, do you have variation in the way that you greet people right now in times of COVID?
Yes, at least like before COVID and after like before COVID, during COVID, I sort of greet people differently than what I used to do. Like for families, I used to do like the customary the customary kisses that we do in Puerto Rico. Like we do we kiss people on the cheek when we see someone, or we hug. But then like after with COVID, it's usually like a wave. I don't think I've ever shaken someone's hand before and after, and then with friends, I would hug, but now it's a wave again. So the greetings have, at least for me, they've become a bit more like colder in a way.
Yeah, definitely. COVID has transformed the answer to this question. That's why I added in times of COVID, because especially in terms of that physical touch greeting, that, you know, physical touch is a part of communication, specifically Puerto Rican communication. You know, we're a very warm and welcoming culture. Kisses are a part of how we greet family members, and hugs. But we can't do that anymore because of our current circumstances. So this just goes to show how history and the circumstances that we live affect how we communicate. So right now, we've added perhaps a different resource to greeting people. We've seen other alternatives to greeting people. Yeah. Does anyone want to share some examples of how you greet people right now? Family members versus friends?
I mean, like when I talk to my parents, I talk more formal. Meanwhile, if I'm talking to my friends, I'm probably more like vulgar, or you know.
When you greet your parents, you're like, hola mami, ¿cómo estás? Whatever. Like saying hello, greetings. ¿Cómo estás? Dios te bendiga.
Yeah,
Right?
así mismo.
And then when you see your friends, cabrón, ¿qué te va? Sorry.
Pretty much.
¿Qué es la que hay? And then fist bump.
Yeah,
I mean,
ahí
not
está.
necessarily fist bump, but yeah. What about a stranger? Do you greet people with usted ever?
Yeah, I do.
Especially like my grandparents sometimes.
Oh, you say usted for your grandparents?
Like when you haven't like seen them in a while. Like it happened to me once that I switched into usted by accident and
Wow.
they got like awkward.
Bendito. That's kind of sweet. Yeah, but I can see because usted is usually referred to used for people of like as an honorific. So people that are elderly, people of high positions, people that you don't know, ¿verdad? But yeah. Or if you're like in a hotel working or you're a customer service scenario, usted is a way of respecting the person on the other end. Unless está en Puerto Rico and you're in the supermarket, then supermarket ladies, there should be a study of supermarket ladies because supermarket ladies have all sorts of ways to greet you. Sí, ma. O como es, mi amor. What's the other one? Mamita. So many different ways of greeting their customers. But yeah, and also, I suppose the fist bump has become more normalized in greetings in COVID, especially now, como que, ¿cómo está? Fist bump or el codo. Yeah, so a lot of variation in greetings. All right, so let's go to e-courses very, very soon. Estamos aquí. Remember your reflection due on Saturday. Remember the response to 2 people by Monday. Here are your instructions. You'll be able to post after this class when you're made member of our group. Okay, secondly, syllabus. We're here and we finished. On February 7th, we jump into language, dialects, and varieties. That's chapter 2. Where are we meeting next week? Not virtually, but this is not our room. Let's check our room on mi portal. Actually, that's our room. But I've been informed by our director that we have a different room assigned for us. So I'm gonna verify what she texted me last night, because this is important for you. All right, so for us, for 7:30, us, we have Chaldón 223. Okay, because Chaldón 324 is under maintenance. So important that we meet presencial next week. Where? Chaldón 223. And hopefully we'll have more dynamic discussions and be more awake in person. Okay, so this is the location of our first meeting next week. Write that down. Nuestra 24, okay? post it to forum. All right. So if there are no further questions or concerns, you are free to go. If not, stick around and ask me your questions. So have a great weekend, you guys, and see you on Monday.
Thank you, Professor.
Have a good
Have a
day.
nice weekend.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, same to you.